Muhammadgrandma cook. Okay, y'all know we get busy when we link. We get busy because she has been an amazing person who's been in the forefront fighting for the families of the missing and murdered. At 4:30, we have special guest, Miss Walla Blugay. She is the County Council District 6 Vice Chair, okay? And we're going to be talking about the great things that she got planned for Prince George's County. Go like to follow her page as well. She got great plans for Prince George's County. And I want to bring all of that I want to let you all know what's going on with that, okay? Um Y'all, we have had a time. We done had a kind of a bad start for the beginning of the year when it comes to the gun violence, homicides. Okay. We're gonna get deep into that. Right now, today in this nation, gun violence in these first 10 days, 1,151 people have lost their lives during these 10 days, first 10 days of the new year. Okay. For me, that sets the pace, okay, for what's to come throughout this year. We're going to have to start thinking about what we're going to do on the back end of this. It's time to stop talking about it, and it's time to start bringing some stuff to light. For real, we're going to have to start doing something because this is beginning to be a lot. All right. So to see the numbers already surpass 1,000 people losing their lives to gun violence in 10 days. And here we haven't even gotten in throughout the month. Okay. There's 365 days in a year. Okay. You do the math. Understand that we need to start moving towards putting some new laws into place, okay, which we're going to talk about that today as well, because that is a very important topic. We need to put some more laws into place. We also need to start pushing the laws that we already have in place. Y'all need to start holding your elected officials accountable. All right, because a lot of them have been sworn in, and from the looks of things, we are already on a bad start. Okay, so it's just so much to talk about. I had housing issues on my way to the studio. The phone was ringing off the hook. As you can see, I don't have my phone in front of me now. I'm feeling a little nervous, okay, because I'm just so used to having it hooked to my hip, and even you seeing it sitting in front of me or in my ear, because the phone is just always ringing off the hook with these issues, okay? And me and a few other people that's out here trying to do what we need to do. We can't do this alone, y'all. We cannot do this alone. We need for you all to play your part in being a part of the change that you want to see. All right. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back with Mr. Steve Biko, National Chair spokesperson for the Out for Justice initiative. We're back. I know during the break, y'all noticed some of the flyers of missing individuals flying through the screen. We're going to have that going on throughout the show to show awareness. Even though I won't be getting into missing persons cases, they're always near and dear to me in my heart. I felt it very important to get into these cold case murder cases, okay, especially centered in the DMV area. On the line, ready to come in, my special guest, national spokesman for Out for Justice Initiative, Mr. Stephen Biko Mohammed.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hello.
Thank say it is indeed an honor to be given a platform such as this, a platform that deals with seeking and finding those who are missing, those who aiding and assisting those who are disadvantaged, those who are disenfranchised. Your your network is a broad-based network. You go from trying to find missing and exploited, sex trafficking, homelessness, help hopelessness, helplessness, right? And your plate is full. So when you reached out, because we have a relationship where we've done work together in the past, I said,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot under any circumstances pass this opportunity to lend a helping hand to our sister and those who are networking with you. As she said before, my name is Stephen Biko Mohammed.
He dropped off. God dang it. We having a little tech. Looks like he done dropped off. Maybe it's the area because he is moving around with this initiative. I'm gonna give him a few more minutes for him to get him back in, okay? But yeah, I was getting ready to remind him he's back. I was getting ready to remind him. He promised me when we stood together outside of the capital city skyline hotel, feeding the individuals that were in there during COVID. He told me that he was always going to have my back, and all I had to do was make a phone call. And so that means a lot to me, to have people such as himself to help me with this because, like I always say, I cannot, and I repeat, I cannot do this alone. I just cannot. So it's important, to have people like himself that's willing to help out in these situations. And he's doing great things, going state to state with his Out for Justice initiative, him and his beautiful queen. So I can't wait to get him back on so we can talk about this. We're going to take a quick break. Okay. We'll be back.
Okay.
Here we go. We got you back. I can hear him a little. I wonder if it would be better for him to call in. Huh? Other break and we'll be back.
Okay, I'm right here. Can you see me? I'm right here. I'm right here. Can you see me? 230, 240.
Lives.
Back.
Let's try it. Okay.
Okay.
We're back, y'all. I think we got them back on, air. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I don't
Okay.
see you, but I can hear you.
I don't know what's going on with the video, but I'll keep talking anyway.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say to the listening audience is this: you have in Blaqrose Guarding a trailblazer, right, as it relates to servicing the community, servicing the state, and ultimately servicing the entire country, because she doesn't just focus her attention on missing and exploited children in the DMV, but she has networks associated with missing and exploited children all over the country, because the child may be missing from Washington D.C., Maryland, or Virginia and end up somewhere else in the country. So her reach and her heart goes out further than the DMV. I just want y'all to be aware of that and be
And
aware of everything that she has.
I was telling them when we were, when we went into, the little technical difficulties, that I remember when you and I worked together feeding and making sure the people were straight down at the capital city skyline. You remember that a few years
Yes,
back?
ma'am. Yes,
You told me,
yes,
yes.
ma'am.
And you told me that I will always, you were a phone call away. And that's literally how it has been. So, just as important as, you think I am, I think that you are very important. We need more people like you. That's why I felt it necessary to keep on, for us to link today. I just felt that necessary for us to link today, you know. So we having another technical difficulty. We're gonna be right back, y'all.
Are we back on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. What I'm gonna say is this, right? Once we gave our vow of support of one another, that vow has been in place since then, right? There's never been a time where you weren't able to aid and assist me in whatever I was working on, and when you called me, I made it my business to do the best I could to be there, right? When we came to that call to feed those who were shut in, I'm not going to say sick and shut in. I'm going to say those who were shut in
Mm-hmm.
and locked in, those who
Right.
were in a in such a oppressive condition, where those who were the facilitators and the administrators of that facility did not even want food to come in to those people. But
That's right.
because we were steadfast and we were persistent and we wasn't going to take no for an answer, we worked on them for hours and hours and hours until they finally opened the doors to allow those people to be fed. So
Yeah.
if that was happening at that time, and just a handful of us were together then, you can imagine the
Mm-hmm.
scope of what's going on all over this country. You have people
That's
that are
right.
disadvantaged, disenfranchised all over this country. Now, with the Out for Justice Initiative, I'm the national spokesman for the Out for Justice Initiative. This is an organization that was founded by a former member of the New Black Panther Party, Mrs. Valencia Daniels. She founded this
Okay.
organization back in 2015 in the state of Ohio. And what she did was she did a lot of boots on the ground work. Boots on the ground means
Mm-hmm.
that you're active in your community and you're working steadfastly in your community on a daily basis. You're not behind the scenes. You're out in front. You're out on the
That's
streets.
right. On the
You're
trench
beating the
work.
pavement.
That's right.
You're
In the
finding out
trenches.
what's
That's
going
right.
on. Find out what's going
Mm-hmm.
done and how you can help and who you can network with to get that work done. See, don't believe that people can just do this stuff by themselves. This has to be a collective effort. So you network with people with like minds. Network with people who have the resources that you may not have. You may have resources that they need and they may have resources that you need. So you combine your effort and you cover more ground that way. So what she did
That's
was
right.
she began to work on unsolved murders in the city of
Mm.
Columbus in the state of Ohio. Unsolved murders, cold cases. So she got with the police department,
Wow.
found out why these cases were cold cases, why they were unsolved, got with the relatives of these victims, reignited them because they had lost hope.
Mm-hmm.
She reignited them and let them know, look, y'all are not by yourself. Y'all are not by yourself. When you hurt, we hurt. As a parent, when a parent loses a child or when a parent's child has been
Mm-hmm.
taken or kidnapped, all the parents in that neighborhood should feel that pain.
That's
Every parent
right.
country that loves their child should feel the pain of when a child goes missing. They should feel that pain. They should feel that hurt when a child is murdered in the streets for no reason at all.
That's right.
If life lost senselessly, everybody should feel that pain. Not just the individuals who were connected to that person. Everybody should feel that pain because in the back of your mind, you're thinking to yourself, damn, that could have been me. Or that could have been my son. That could have been my daughter.
Right.
So you're supposed to feel that pain. And if you're able to reach out and touch that person and allow that person to know, look, I'm not going to let you go through this by yourself. That's where we come in at. That's where the Alpha Justice Initiative comes in at. We are in the courtrooms. We're doing court watch. We're in the communities. We're feeding the homeless, clothing the needy. Right. We're also working on elderly neglect because don't believe that elderly that are in these nursing homes and these senior living facilities are being treated right all the time because they're not. Some of them are being mistreated. Some of them are being overcharged. Some of them are being neglected in many different ways. But because fear sets in, they're afraid of being put out on the street. They're afraid of being punished for speaking up for themselves. They're afraid of being punished for telling their family members what's going on there, so they don't say anything. So what we do, and I'm going to put it out there because I want everybody to know this. What we do is we send sleeper cells inside these facilities. We get people to apply online for jobs in these specific facilities. They're not concerned about the income that they're receiving. They go into these facilities to do investigative work for us to find out what's being done in these facilities. They go in as nurses. They go in as orderlies. They go in as food service prep. They go in as a myriad of different things. And they go into these get the intel to find out what's really going on as opposed to what we're told is going on. Because the staff members will tell you just anything. The administration will tell you anything. So we have individuals that we train to go into these particular places and gather the intel that we need that affords us the opportunity to go in there in a informed fashion. You don't want to go into a situation misinformed or uninformed. So we go in there informed, knowing what's going on and knowing who the perpetrators are so we can target them specifically. And when you have these rallies, you don't go to these rallies half-cocked with misinformation, not knowing what's going on, not knowing who's been contacted, who hasn't been contacted, who the key people are. You go in there with an informed mindset so that you can be as effective as you possibly can in resolving those issues. And we have to understand this. As you and I discussed this last year, there is no cookie cutter approach to alleviation of suffering.
That's right. It's really not. No, it is not. No, it is not.
And there's not a monopoly on solutions. There is not one organization that has all the answers. We have to find out where we fit in at and what we're good at, and we pull people in based on what their skill set is. Everybody can't do the work that Blaqrose does. Everybody can't do the work that Biko does. Everybody can't do the work that Valencia does. Everybody can't do the work that Jules Strobin does. Everybody can't do the work that Tiffany Aziz does. Everybody can't do the work that Kenneth Clark does. Everybody can't do that work. So each individual knows where they are suited best, and you perform in the areas where you are best suited. Stay in your own lane.
That's why, Steve, that's why I feel it important and it's more needful to build coalitions.
Absolutely.
Than to build teams. It's you always have to have an umbrella with different mindsets and people that can get things done. Because with coalitions, it is just what it says. It's a coalition. Everybody in that coalition under that umbrella has a part to play.
Absolutely. But see, what the problem with these grassroots organizations today. Now, back in the day, we didn't have a problem with building coalitions because everybody recognized who the oppressor was. Everybody recognized what the main issues were, and everybody galvanized the community around those issues. Now, back in the day, Rose, you know this. We even had rent parties.
Yeah, we sure
If a person couldn't pay their rent, we used to have parties where we would sell dinners to pay for a neighbor's rent, to keep their lights on. keep their water on, right? We need to get
Mhm.
back to the idea of community-based coalition building, right? We're trying to build
Right.
with all these national movements. That stuff don't work because everybody
Mhm.
wants chief and nobody wants to be the Indians. So trying to
Right.
build a coalition nationally would never work. We have to work
Mhm.
within our communities. Get with these elders in the community because they have their eyes on everything. They said in their living room in the window for a reason. Believe that. They got their finger on the pulse of everything that's going on. But we have to do wellness checks on our seniors. The
That's
seniors know everything
right.
that's going on. The seniors know
Ooh,
everything that's
they
going on
know
inside the community.
everything that's going on. They know everything that's going on. Those are our neighborhood watches.
They
Okay,
know
because I got a couple of them on my block. Okay, they can tell you who broke into your car and who did what. Okay, who did what. It's we need that, and we need to make sure that our elderly are taken care of. That's why, since I have been doing the food distributions, I have my target communities has been my elderly.
correct.
It has been the individuals who live in the assisted living facilities, apartment complexes and things of that nature. That has been my target. It's very important.
You've been consistent. You have been consistent in so many different ways. I mean, you come out in the rain, the snow, hail, sleet, and possible earthquakes. You always out there, right? But what we have to be mindful of is this: everybody's heart is not sincere.
No, it's
So,
not. No,
so
it's
we're not going to
not.
sugarcoat this. Let's not, we're telling them about the good side of what we're doing, but let's keep it 100% real here. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
not on the same page. Everybody's not going to be on the same page.
Nope.
You have poverty pimps out here.
That's
You have
right.
individuals out here that are pimping the suffering of our people.
That's
All they
right.
want to
Like
do
all
is be
the
seen.
time.
They'll go to about 5 or 6 food pantries, get all the food they can get, and then set in front of their building, give out food that they took from other communities,
From
bring it
other
back to their
people.
community,
That's
and act like
right.
they have a food drive going on.
Mm-hmm. That's
Let's keep it
right.
100. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
You have
Let's
you
keep
have
it
you have a lot
100.
of people out here that are pimping the system, right? I was a
Mm-hmm.
former member of the New Black Panther Party,
Mm.
and joined the New Black Panther Party because I thought that the New Black Panther Party was a politically active organization inside of the Black community doing the work, getting things done, advocating for our communities. I found out later on that that wasn't the case.
You see,
That
you
they
see
were
where my finger at on my. I don't know if you can see me, but I see. I know where you about to go. Okay, I was ready.
here. I had my finger on the pulse of the organization. I was the minister of defense for Washington D.C. chapter of the New Black Panther Party. I even rose up in the ranks to become the national spokesman for the New Black Panther Party.
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered things within the organization that was not in keeping with the rules and guidelines of the organization, nor was it in keeping with the directives of the original Black Panther Party. The original Black
Right.
Panther Party was the organization that was working inside the community to empower the Black community to get up off its knees and to do something for itself. We had schools, we had sickle cell anemia programs, we had feed the people programs, we had housing programs, we were
Mm-hmm.
employing our people, we were doing all that kind of stuff. But then when that organization was infiltrated by the FBI through the COINTELPRO program, it destroyed the Black Panther Party. So now, in the late '80s, you come up with the new Black Panther Party, and they rose to prominence with the James Beard um, um,
Okay.
situation in Texas, where they drugged the brother on the back of a pickup truck from a chain and dismembered him.
Yeah.
And they came to
Mm-hmm.
prominence with that, right? So many people were enamored by this new vision of the Black Panther Party. They were more militant, they were soldierly, they were radical. So at a time in
Mm-hmm.
America when we were suffering from police brutality wholesale, the murder of our young Black men by police wholesale, an organization like that was ideal for young Black men who
Right.
who wanted a voice, young Black men who wanted to be
Mm-hmm.
involved in the struggle in a real militant way. Only to find out later on that these individuals were just as bad as those who they condemned,
Oh, you better speak. You better
and some
speak.
even worse.
Yep.
stealing
Yep.
money from the black community under the guise of having these fundraisers to raise funds for different individuals who were locked up unjustly. They were raising funds, and then those individuals never got the money to go to their legal defense. How do I know? Because I was one of them.
Right.
One of them. And thousands of dollars were stolen from my defense fund, right? But I didn't come.
Mm.
I didn't, and I end up representing myself, and because of my legal mind, I end up beating my case, end up coming home. But I didn't come home to rejoin the organization. I came home to do two things. One was
Mm-hmm.
to give the people a return on their investment. The people
Right.
trusted me. People invested their time, their energy, and their money in my release. So for me
That's
to come
right.
home and to lay down and do nothing, that would have been a insult, and it would have been disrespectful to the people who believed in me. So I knew
See,
that I
this is
couldn't stay
my
with that.
thing.
Huh?
This has been my thing. This has been my thing with a lot of those organizations. As you know, I have been a part of several of them. I have been the
Right.
committee chair for the National Action Network,
That's right.
member of the NAACP, and the list goes on and on and on. I am a missing and murdered advocate, okay? And when people are screaming Black Lives Matter, okay?
Oh,
I'm
that's right.
including the families of my missing and murdered, but it seems as if we don't get any type of help. We don't have any people out screaming and trying to help us in this situation. So when I found out that those organizations, including, different, I'm not gonna say every, how did you call it? Every Black Panther Party, organization, or New Black Panther Party, I'm not gonna say all of them, but a lot of them are just in for one thing. So I couldn't connect with people like that couldn't tell me the goddamn understanding of what Black Lives Matter really means. Is it some
See,
black people? Is it the people that's just getting killed by the police? Or is it all of us in the whole? Because when we start talking, throwing out black on black crime, people don't like to hear that.
right. See, the problem is this, sister. The problem is this. You have all of these militias, these black militias, these black gun clubs, these black organizations, but ain't
Mhm.
nobody out here with boots on the ground when the Amber Alert is issued. I don't see none of these organizations mobilizing and going out there trying to find nobody.
Exactly.
Nobody.
Yep.
They show up after the fact when the cameras are rolling, just so they can get a
Hmm.
15 seconds of fame.
That's right.
I was there. I was there when this happened. Yeah.
He was getting ready to get busy, y'all. Cause I'm telling you, he was getting ready to get it in. All right. I'm telling you, in everything that he was saying was the God honest truth. And a lot of you all that followed us and followed the new Black Panther Party, because like I said, I've always wanted to collaborate and connect
Not be
with
going on.
different
You would have drug dealers on
organizations
every corner.
so that we can bring some help. And when people screaming Black Lives Matter, I'm thinking it's every black life in the whole, not just some, not
No,
just the
see,
people who are, it was really bad. It put a bad taste in my mouth, to be around and to see. And then when you ask questions to these organizations when it comes to the missing and murdered, they don't have. You can hear a pin drop.
right? Why does Black lives only matter when they die at the hands of a policeman's gun?
Right, right, right,
Black lives. Listen.
right,
I ask all the time. I say, you saying Black lives matter? My question to you is this: who you trying to convince? Me or yourself?
right.
Because I'm
Mm-hmm.
not convinced that Black
That's
lives
right.
matter until Black lives matter to Black people.
That's
See, we
right.
gotta stop killing each other. We kill each other at a rate that far supersedes police killing us.
That's right.
We kill each other on a daily
I just
basis at
put
a rate
out
that far
there,
supersedes.
where we're at right now when it comes to, and this is just gun violence murders. We are 1,151 people as of
already,
today, have been
already.
murdered already in the first 10 days.
First 10 days. And now look at this. Most of the crimes that take place in the black community are crimes related to poverty. They're
Mm-hmm.
poverty induced crimes. If there were
Okay.
jobs, there were jobs, if there were education, if there was enfranchisement instead of disenfranchisement, then the whole political, social, and economic landscape in the black community would be different. However,
That's right.
it does not matter to me how many jobs are offered to black people. Black people have to have a mindset towards productivity
Mm-hmm.
instead of
Yeah,
self-destructive behavioral tendencies.
that's
You can't
right.
always blame the white man for this. Okay, yeah, he's done his job. So what? Now the question is this: we know what the government has done.
That's
What you gonna
right.
do for yourself?
That's right. And let's talk
That's the
about
question.
while we're talking about the government and we're talking about the white man and what he has done. What about our black leadership that's basically is now our new oppressors? Okay? Our
Call it
black leadership that is now our new oppressors. Yes, I said it.
right. That's right. They call that what's the new word that the young people have for it? They call them the neo-colonialists, the new colonizers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Uh-huh.
they're
That's
pushing
right.
programs, agendas that are not programs and agendas that are truly in the interest of the black community, but these are programs and agenda that boosts up their political clout, that boosts up their economic coffers, that boosts up
Mm-hmm.
their agendas. We have to ask ourselves this: do these black politicians truly represent the interests of those who placed them in office? And if they do
That's
not,
right.
political
Ooh.
science teaches us that if they do
Mm-hmm.
not, then a vote of no confidence can go to the local legislatures and unseat these individuals. So you don't
That's
you don't have to
right.
sit back and let them stay in office because they are elected to office. That don't mean they have to stay in office. The community can get together and issue a vote of no confidence and remove them from office, or as they did with Murray and
Mm-hmm.
Burry. As he did with Murray and Burry, you can silence them on their councils where they don't have a voice in nothing.
That's right.
Community has the power to do that. But because there is a lack of political education inside the black community, there is a whole lot of things that are going on inside the community where the community is now oppressing itself.
That's right.
And oppressing itself
Mm-hmm.
because of political ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
See, we streetwise in a lot of ways, but we dumb where it counts
Where it counts, you better know it. And we don't read nothing.
at all because
That's right.
we are too trusting as a people, and a lot of times you have individuals that are too pride filled to allow themselves to be told something or taught something.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That's where the
Yeah.
mistake comes. We need voting power, but the voting power without an education behind the vote in terms of understanding what the voting process is all about means nothing. That's
You
just a
know,
dead ballot. That's just a dead
yeah,
blank ballot. Man.
yeah. That's why
It
I
is.
started, Blaqrose Garden, Meet the Candidates back in 2015, 2016, because
Exactly.
I thought it was very important to educate the people on the voting process because even when it comes to old heads, they were so naive and just miseducated on
Right.
the process, and some of them hold on to those old beliefs and stuff that ain't been going on since Jesus was a baby.
Yes.
Okay. They hold on to it and all of that stuff and they become set in that way of thinking and that shit rubs off on everybody else and it just be a mess like we have
Right.
now. We
Right.
don't we got people that don't even know the three forms of government.
That's right. That's right. That's right. See, you have leadership that's pushing national elections. The national elections don't mean a goddamn thing. Let's keep it
Damn
100.
thing. That's right.
National
Let's
elections
keep
don't
it
mean nothing.
100.
It is the
Let's keep it
local
100.
elections. It is the
That's
local
right.
elections, the local grassroots electoral politics that actually moves the city.
That's
It's your
right.
local government that moves the city. It is your county
Mm-hmm.
governments in these different states. It is your county governments that actually move the county.
That's right.
Those local
I tried
seats.
to tell people that I used to hate when people sit up here and talk all over the place as if we don't have enough going on right here in our local government. That's why it's
Right.
because it be so much attention brought to it on a national level. But how is that going to change if we ain't changed the local level?
Only way that this thing is going to change at this stage, to be honest with you, and I've been analyzing it for quite a bit. I have a degree. I have a degree in political science. And I've been watching this thing for quite a many years. The only way to revamp this system is not to seek reforms in the system. Certain things have to be overturned and abolished. Right
Right.
now, in order to do that is this. The only way to do that is this. You have to bring new blood in. You got to bring new blood.
Mm-hmm.
Our responsibility as elders and those who are politically astute enough to recognize that there is a problem and have some semblance of an understanding of what those solutions are, we have to get on those college campuses. Get on
That's
those college
right.
campuses. Get into those student unions. Find those young people that are taking up political science. Find those young people that are majoring in government. Find those young people
Mm-hmm.
that are majoring in different aspects of the educational arena, and then we foster those young people. We get
Mm-hmm.
behind them. We get behind them because once they know that the community is behind them, they will come out and give the community the benefit of their knowledge. And we can run them for political office because we know that they come from the community and they've returned to the community and they have the community's best interest at heart.
Can I ask you something?
Ma'am.
You know they are getting ready to rid Chicago of the cash bail system.
Yes,
One of
yes,
the
yes.
worst crime ridden um cities in America. What
Right.
is your thought on that?
Well, I went on another TV. I went on a TV show in Chicago about that, right? Because I sat on the gang council in Chicago, right? We
Mm-hmm.
had a intervention council in Chicago, and I was one of the ones that was brought in to sit on that gang intervention council. Um, what I see happening with the abolishment of the cash bail system is that
Mm-hmm.
all it's going to do is create a warehousing system. It's going to
And
warehouse.
what you mean by that?
It's going to warehouse offenders because you have individuals that are going to be getting locked up for menial offenses that a small cash bail would have been given to them. Now they're going to be setting, right?
Mm-hmm.
The longer these individuals set, the more irritated they become, and the more irritated those individuals who have more serious charges become, having these kind of offenders around them. So now you're creating a hotbed inside of these institutions. So now individuals who may have been out on their personal recognizance or a small cash bail, now they're put in place with hardened criminals or individuals who are more violent or more prone to conflict resolution through violent means. Now they have those individuals to contend with. Now where they went in there with a shoplifting charge, they end up catching an assault charge while they're there, maybe attempted murder charge while they're there. So it is pushing us slowly back to what they call the plantation style environments.
Okay.
That's what it's geared towards, right? Because they need another labor force, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen is if
Mm-hmm.
they can't pay cash bail to get out, what they're going to do is they're going to begin to put them in what they call work release programs,
Work release
or
programs. Yeah.
where they provide a labor type compensation for a crime or a offense that was put in place. Remember, the 13th Amendment states that slavery is abolished except as a punishment for a crime.
Yeah, because they're still voting. Slavery is still on the ballot. As I mean,
Yes,
it's
it
still on the
is.
ballot. Yeah,
Yes, it
yeah.
is.
Slavery is
Yes, it
still on the
is.
ballot. Yeah.
It's very
Mm-hmm.
real. You
Yeah.
have prisoners, when you have prisoners in the California prison system being paid 81 cents a day to go out there and fight forest fires. 81 cents a day. They're putting their life on the line for 81 cents a day just so they can get a little semblance of freedom. They wouldn't jeopardize their life for 81 cents.
Good
That tells
God
you something.
Almighty.
The prison industrial complex. It is an industry. It is not designed in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Bear this in mind, and that will help you understand what this removal of the cash bail is all about. It's an industry. It's an industry.
My
It's
thing,
not designed to benefit anybody.
when I think about them doing that for Chicago, okay, see, because I'm gonna bring it to you from an advocate's point of view, okay? I'm gonna bring it to you from my point of view. When I think about them doing that in places like Chicago, I think it's a form of genocide, okay?
Yes, all the gang members up together.
I look at it as a form of genocide. You want me to tell you why? Number one is that when you talk about this cash bail system and what this involves, we're talking about people with arson, people who rob people, and people with even murder charges.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
will be um arrested, prosecuted, and then let go home until their trial. Okay, and not only that, they're talking about um letting go 400 inmates with different charges from out of the system, period, until their court cases. This for a place like Chicago, this is genocide. It's genocide.
Now,
And it's also, they have done
right,
this in New Jersey. We had a young woman who was killed in September that the cash bail system would have saved her life.
right.
It would have saved her life if it would have been a cash bail system put in place because of the simple fact, after this her husband beat the hell out of her, almost killed her, they basically let him come home until his trial. He came home 5 days later, he murdered his wife in front of their children. And
Yes.
all of this could have been saved. He could have saved her life and many others. When we're screaming about these situations and we're trying to, go against them in certain situations, when it comes to this, our voices don't get heard. We have to, and we're coming with experience because it's somebody knows that have lost a loved one, and had that cash bail system been put into place, it would have been something totally different. So I think right now, with a lot of this stuff that they're doing, that they so-called are supposed to be helping us and trying to, keep us from being in jail and this, that, and the third, is basically it's like a double-edged sword, because they're taking that shit and they're run with it. That's just like them passing that law to lessen the penalties for violent offenders under the age of 25. Look at what's going on right now.
Heard about that. Heard-
Who
My
is
question to
creating the
you,
crime?
question to you is this, right? With the no cash bail system, right? Hey, from what I understood about it, it was it wasn't fully enacted as of yet, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
the question is this: what measures have to be taken to ensure that it does not become law?
Right.
What measures have to be
Right.
taken to ensure that it does not become law? Now, you have a lot of power players in the city of Chicago. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of prominent voices reside in the city of Chicago.
Resides in the city of Chicago. That's right.
You have Rahm Emanuel, Jesse Jackson, Louis Farrakhan. You have Fred Hampton Jr. You have numerous individuals that have a voice in how that city moves and how that city operates. My question is this: where are those voices now?
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm talking
Nothing
about.
is
And
said of
I mean,
and no attention is being brought to it is because it's not profitable to them.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not
It's not. Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. It's a mess, because this thing goes deep, you all. It goes very, very deep. When you're talking about the crimes that's going on right now, all you see where we have a downright genocide going on right now.
that's right.
Okay, even when it comes to our elected officials and the situation with, it's like the housing situation. You see the housing situation that basically just came to full, just came to a head. Here, two of these individuals who are responsible for the neglect and the lack of overseeing, these situations have been reelected.
Right. Correct. See, corruption in the city of Washington, D.C., corruption in that city starts in the Oval Office and comes all the way down the pipe.
Mm,
It starts in the Oval Office in the West
mm,
Wing and comes all the way down. Comes all the way down.
right.
And there is
Mm-hmm.
no office that is a policy making office in Washington D.C. that does not have a stench of corruption setting in it. No
Mm-hmm.
office. No office. Even Trayon White. You know how I feel. Even him.
Yeah.
And this dude, Salim Adolfo, who is supposed to be Ward 8 ANC representative, they're not
But
doing
he's
anything
running.
with.
He's also, he's running for Ward a council member.
Exactly, he's running for
Mm-hmm.
that right
Yeah.
now. He's running for
Yeah.
that right
Running for
now.
that right now. Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
but my thing is this: how can
Mm,
you run for a Ward 8 council seat and all you do is once a month walk around and pick up and pay people to pick up trash?
mm.
You're not doing nothing of substance
And
inside
I
the
tell you,
community.
before
That's
break
something
today, y'all, I'm serious.
yeah, that's something that the community is
Yeah.
going to do anyway. That's
Mm-hmm.
something
That's
that's something that
right.
is something that the community is going to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
These individuals show up after the fact. You have liquor
After the
stores on
fact.
every damn corner in Southeast Washington D.C. It was me, Stephen Biko Muhammad. It was me who went to Salim Adolfo, who went to Trayon White, myself. I went to these individuals myself and said, look here, a lot of crime is taking place in these areas, and
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these crimes
Mm.
taking place in the same areas where these liquor stores are, where these trap houses are, where these dope bins are. So what you gonna do
Mm-hmm.
about that? I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll bring my team out here and we will raid each trap house there is, and I guarantee you some of those missing children are in those trap houses. We'll raid
Uh-huh.
those spots. We will run down on the drug dealers and let them know, look here, man. I'm not trying to interfere with your enterprise, but at the same time that your shop at this location right here is closed and you need to relocate somewhere else.
That's
But not
right.
right
That's
here.
right.
Not right here.
Mm-hmm. That's
You
right.
can't shut down a open air drug market. You just can't go in there and shut it down. You have to be tactful and strategic in how you do it. The way to shut
Mm-hmm.
down that drug market in DC is to give them kids jobs, man.
That's to
You
get them
can't
kids
take something
jobs.
from you can't take something
Yeah.
from them without replacing it with something of equal or greater value.
Mm-hmm.
And locking them up is not solving the problem. All they're doing by being locked up is becoming more criminally astute.
More exactly.
If
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
if they better ways to do the same thing over again. So you're
Good
creating
God
a greater
Almighty.
because they've taken out of the prison system. The education
Mm-hmm.
programs are being taken out. The Pell Grant programs are being suspended. So now you have a whole city of people that are just existing.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Gentrification strategically designed to destabilize and immobilize the community.
That's
So
right. Yeah.
once you begin to remove jobs from the community, you begin to remove hope from the community. So now the people
Mm-hmm.
turn in on themselves, they turn in on each other. And then they begin to prey on each other instead of praying for each other. They begin to prey on each other. Now you have a whole community that is almost washed itself out.
Almost washed itself out. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you are you are removing you are removing the low income housing from the city.
Mm-hmm. That's
You're, re,
right.
you're tearing it all down and rebuilding it with condominiums and townhouses that that these people couldn't afford from the jump street. So now you're pushing them out of
Now
Washington
you pushing
D.C.
them out.
into
Already
PG
deported
County.
20,000 black people since the beginning of gentrification. 20,000, over 20,000 black people have been displaced out of DC. Okay,
Yeah, guess where
and
they're going?
yeah, and and we
Going to
started
PG.
off with the most noticeable city when it comes from displacement. We were number one, we were number five, and now we're number 13.
And look what's happening. They pushed them out of
Yeah,
DC into Oxon
yeah.
Hill. They go from
Mm-hmm.
Southeast to Oxon Hill, from Oxon Hill to Temple Hill, from Temple Hill to Marlow Heights, from Marlow Heights to Capitol Heights, then to Landover, then to New Carrollton. They're pushing them all the way through PG County.
Right. Yeah.
Now PG County ends up with the same problem that
We
Washington
have
D.C.
the
had.
same problem. You better talk. You
The
better
exact
talk
same
because
problem
I just
D.C.
think,
had. PG
yeah.
County got the same problem.
Mm-hmm. We got
Ain't
the
no
same
different.
problem.
It's
When
no different.
I participated in the Citizen Police Academy 2018. So I got to get a good look into the stuff that was going on. Even when it comes to the crime issues that we face,
That's
right?
right.
And to sit up here, man, I can go on and on and on just to talk with, I had spoke with people, introduced myself, my platform to folks to let them know, you know, the reason why we're at this place right now, because I remember Prince George's County closed, out 76% clearance rate,
Right.
72% clearance rate. DC never been like that, okay? Never been like that. Not only is we're getting all of the black beautiful people that they're pushing out, we're getting the issues. We're getting their vouchers. Okay, we're getting their vouchers because guess what? Prince George's County housing list ain't been open since Jesus was a baby. Okay, but yet we have these people coming in. They can come into our communities and use the vouchers and everything because they letting these people go. Some of them they're forcing out. Some of them they giving federal vouchers to make sure that they stay out.
Right. Right. That's right. So you're pushing a problem from one area to the other. I was about to speak on that a second ago, right? It's called in the political arena, it's called organized mayhem.
That's right.
Organized mayhem. It's not mayhem that is born inside the community, but it's mayhem that is pushed inside the community by outside forces.
Mm-hmm.
And it is micromanaged by those who are city officials, those who are government officials. They set specific things in place inside the community and then regulate how those things move on a time span. And they project. That's why the place where some of us live is called projects, because they are
Mm-hmm.
projecting. They are projecting how long the lifespan of those individuals that are in there is going to be. What's going to be the crime ratio, and that's how your
Mm-hmm.
statistics are born.
That's right. That's
So
right.
these
You
are
better speak to.
experimental. See,
Mm-hmm.
you see houses when you see neighborhoods just pop up out of nowhere. 2 or 3 months ago, it wasn't nothing there. Then you look 6 months
Mm-hmm.
later, it's a whole neighborhood there, and it's filled all the way up to capacity.
Yeah.
That is a project that was in the makings. That's the experiment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That is a
When
government
I
sponsored
tell people,
experiment.
yeah, I tell people all the time that when when public housing first was, established, it wasn't supposed to go like that. They were supposed to put mixed income families into those public housing. Why? Because if you have all of the same people with the same issues, no money, no, all of the problems in the world, what do you think you're gonna have?
Absolutely.
Like let's take for instance Bury Farms. Bury Farms no longer exists. That's where I was born and raised. 1259 Stevens Road Southeast. Okay. My grandmother, okay, was a resident, was one of the first OGs in Bury Farms. She lived there 26 years before I was even born. Okay. And thought of. Okay, so to see how they ran those people out of there the same way that they did Arthur Capers. They
That's right.
promised them people, we're going to fix up everything. You're going to be able to come back. But I say all the time, I tell my folks all the time, your bad behavior, how you treat your neighborhood is what validates them coming in there and taking it from you.
Exactly. Now, look at where Bury Farms was located. Look at
Mm-hmm.
this area. Capers. Look
Yeah.
at the surrounding area, right? Right off of Alabama Avenue, Stanton Road. Look at how those areas now are being built up. But
Being built up.
look at where it's at.
That's right.
It's on a main thoroughfare, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where tourists come through, and they're getting ready to industrialize those areas.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't what he did Southwest, there by the Navy Yard and everything. They tore stuff down, and now they're building edifices up that are drawing people to the city and drawing people to that part of the city. It's all about economics. And
Mm-hmm.
like tell my comrades, and I tell the young people all the time, economics is not just about money. The word economics is two words: economics. Eco means environment. Nomics means the
Mm-hmm.
management thereof. It means the
That's
ability to
right.
manage your
That is true.
environmental, uh, uh,
Mm-hmm.
the circumference of your environment. That's what economics is: environmental management.
That's right.
And because we
Mm-hmm.
don't take a vested interest in economics in its proper form, we're always the ones that are always pushed out because we don't value the environments that we're in. When they see that you don't value your environment, they're gonna push you out and replace you with somebody else.
Yes, they
Every single
are.
time. Every
Have
single
when is
time.
the last time? When is the last time you've been in the district? I mean, it's heartbreaking to go over there now because I don't even see us anymore. You know what I'm
But,
saying? I
see,
don't see us anymore.
sister, let me tell you something. Let me explain something to you, right? DC shifted its pendulum when they renovated 8th Street.
Yes.
When they shook 8th Street up and put that streetcar in the 8th Street and made 8th Street Northeast a tourist attraction going all the way downtown, that's when DC's pendulum shifted. Then
Mm-hmm.
in the on the southeast side of Pennsylvania Avenue, from the bridge all the way down to Harris Teeter,
Okay.
you don't see blacks there no more.
No, you don't. You
You don't see
don't.
blacks there. Why? Because they gentrified that area and pushed those who were low income blacks up Pennsylvania
Mm-hmm.
Avenue towards Forestville.
That's right.
Then they
Mm-hmm.
began to move the politicians' children into that area. They don't want no blacks on Pennsylvania Avenue because it's a straight line to the White House.
That's right. It sure is.
Then
It
if you
sure
go
is.
to DC, you'll see two kinds of signs in Washington DC. You'll see green street signs and you'll see blue ones on the exit routes. You'll see little
On the
blue small
exit
street
routes.
signs.
That's right.
Those blue
Mm-hmm.
small street signs say evacuation routes.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Evacuation route.
Mm-hmm.
Always
See,
evacuation
it
out
would take a
the
motherfucking
business.
smart brother like you to bring this stuff up because this is the things that we sit around and we think about. These things, we pay attention to this type of stuff. We know what that shit means. We're trying to wake y'all up as the
Right.
people, as voters, to understand what this all means.
They do not move us anywhere near those evacuation routes. Why? Because
Mm-hmm.
they want to be able to lock us into specific areas of the city and allow them out if anything happens. If the city goes into a state of unrest and martial law is declared, they want you to be able to be locked in specific areas. That's why the areas where we live at are mostly gated in communities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you got that right.
There are gates
You
and
got
fences
that
around
right.
our community. That's for a reason, so they can
Uh-huh.
lock your ass in.
That's right.
They declare
That's right.
decide to declare martial law or institute the King Alfred Plan, Rex 80, and push that into law where they suspend the Constitution and declare martial law and bring the military in. All of those black communities that have gates around them will become concentration camps,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you're gonna stay right
Better
there.
speak. You better speak.
And you're going to stay
Mm-hmm.
right there, and and
And you
and
gonna
they
stay
and
right there.
they build
Mm-hmm.
up those. They put the businesses where those evacuation routes are, so it'll be easy for those who are affluent in DC to get to where the food is, where the food is at, and easy access to
Mm-hmm.
and from home.
That's right. That's
And they
right. You are
always
absolutely
marshal us
right
in.
about that, Steve. You
They'll
are
they
absolutely right about
they'll
that.
make those new townhouses look so beautiful that you just got to have.
Mm-hmm.
You just got. I
That you
just got
just
to get.
gotta have
Girl,
it.
I just
Yeah.
got to get one. Girl, I got to get me one of them. I gotta go to
Mm-hmm.
Alabama Avenue and get me one of them. And then 6 months later, it's just like Skyline.
Just like the skyline, okay? With the goddamn floors sinking in. And then
Exactly.
those people, they done had to move into a hotel because they was with Murmur, and she helped Murmur help them get into these houses and everything else. You know what I'm
Sis,
saying?
sis,
That's what
you
I'm
saw how
talking about.
fast
And let's
you
yeah, yes.
you
Yes.
pulled my
Bring that
coat.
shit today. Yes.
You pulled my
Yes.
coat,
Bring
Twitter.
it
You saw how
today.
fast
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
they tore Lynn Hill condominiums down on
Okay.
Route 5,
Mm-hmm.
Branch Avenue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And look, where was Lynn Hill condominiums at? It was condominiums, but the cost of living there was so low that everybody was going there.
Everybody was going there. Everybody and their mama was going there. Yep, he done dropped again. Yep. See, that's what I'm saying. This is you only going to get the real here. We bringing it to you live without no Vaseline because this is how you need to get it. And maybe, just maybe, it will wake some of you all up because you have to start being involved. You have to use these damn cellular devices for something than just sitting on your hip looking cute or sitting on the phone talking crazy about people.
And
Use them to read and understand what's going on.
then when Iverson Mall is no longer profitable, what did they do? They sold them all.
Sold them all. You better
They
speak.
sold them all.
You
That
better
was the
tell them
only
sold
place that area.
all.
That was
Yeah.
the only place that was local shopping for that entire
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood, for the entire Temple Hills
That's
area,
right.
Model Heights
That's
area. That
right.
was local shopping for them. So what they do? So what they do
Mm-hmm.
now? They sold it to a real estate developer, and they're going to tear that
Mm-hmm.
down. Tear that down, and they're going to put housing there that the rent is so high that it's not affordable to those people who live around there. Then they're going to push them out further for shopping,
Mm-hmm.
and then raise the prices of the food.
Let me ask you another thing while we're truth telling right now. I want to ask you, what's your thoughts about these goddamn smoke shops that they have put up all over the world?
They
Okay,
call them
because
they
those
call them vape
things right
shops.
there, huh?
They call them vape shops, tobacco stores, and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
kinds. And they stay open 24 hours. You notice that, right? Then they got the
24
shiny lights
hours.
around. They got the
Well,
shiny
one
lights around to really attract your attention.
disaster. Okay. You can't even pull up outside of one of them things, and then the stuff that they sell inside of them. There's been several of them.
All
Basically, I done
paraphernalia.
walked in. I done walked in while they're changing money with the old owners. The old owners, our Korean brothers and sisters that was here
Yes,
that had those houses. I mean, those businesses for so long. People don't even understand why they left. When
exactly.
Biden helped pass that goddamn what was it, Asian hate law,
Yep.
they left. They sold them businesses and they rolled out.
Right.
Okay. They didn't want that put targets on those people backs because they wasn't complaining. Now we have even worse people. Because I don't
Look
care what
who
nobody say. I don't like them there with the single cigarette selling and all of that bullshit. I
they
don't
make
like it.
death. They make death affordable to black people.
Yes, they do. They make theft affordable to black people. That's
That's
right.
that's
Let's
what
talk
those
about
smoke
it like
shops
it
are
is.
for. You don't see those vape
Mhm.
shops, those smoke shops in no white communities whatsoever. Why?
No,
Because they
it ain't in
tolerate
one
this shit.
white community. Nope, you
They're not
can't
gonna
go to
tolerate
Montgomery County. You can't go to Montgomery County and find a goddamn vape shop.
it.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, on certain streets in Montgomery County, you can't even smoke cigarettes on certain streets
You can't even
outside.
smoke cigarettes. You better speak. You better
Can't
speak.
do it outside. You can't do it. And
Ooh.
these kids can't even walk around in the streets in Montgomery County with their pants hanging off their ass. They gonna get a
No,
$500
sure
ticket for
can't.
that.
Sure can't. Sure can't. Yeah, sure can't. And
But
that's the thing.
in our communities, they make death affordable.
And they are
If
they
you
are
don't want,
robbing our communities blind. Okay.
yes, yes,
Robbing
yes.
our communities blind with the dollar store toilet paper that they can go and pay a dollar
Economic,
and 25 cents for, and then they put it in them stores and sell it for $4. I see it. And I
exactly.
called the consumer protection for Prince George's County. And see, that's what I wanted. I called them, and you know what they had to tell me? That there's no law against price gouging.
Correct. The reason
Yeah.
now, the reason why that has been enacted is because there's a lot of economic recovery. They're trying to push economic recovery coming off of COVID. So they're allowing
Hmm.
retailers to establish their own pricing, as long as the pricing
Right.
is, as long as the price is not a 100% markup. They can price it whatever they want as long as it falls beneath a 100% markup, right? Now, anything that goes over anything that meets a 100% markup, that's a crime.
Yeah, but
That's a,
what if you buying $1.25 pack of tissue from the dollar store and you're putting it in your store and selling it for $4?
you know why? Because the dollar store is a retail chain.
Mm-hmm.
Other stores are privately owned entities, and they can set their own prices as long as
Mm.
as long as it does not have a corporate label on the product. They can't sell Kellogg's in their store. They can't sell Kellogg's from something from Kellogg's Corporation in their store that costs $4 in your local food store. They can't take it in their store and sell it for $10. They can't do it.
Mm. Well,
That's embezzlement.
I'm gonna start checking that out because I swear I see Kellogg's and everything else. Okay,
If you see
Jiffy's,
that in their
whatever.
store,
I see it
you see
all
that
in
in their
there.
store, and they're doubling the prices, they can be
Yeah.
charged. Yeah, they can be charged for that.
Cause I done been, yeah, I watched a lady a couple of weeks ago in one of these smoke vape shops,
Right.
convenience stores, because they got all kinds.
Contact.
They wear mini hats. They wear
Yeah,
these damn stores. They done went from the convenience store, now they the convenience smoke shop. One stop, you
exact.
can go get all the drug paraphernalia. You can get your pipes. You can get
See,
your
but see,
hookah.
if you
You can get everything.
notice all those places,
Everything that kill us.
all those places are being placed inside of our communities. Why? Because
Inside of our communities.
our communities are the communities that are consumers. That we're more consumers than we
Mm-hmm.
are producers, right? And we'll
Yeah.
accept whatever's put in front of us because it's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
They even
Good
sell single
God.
cigarettes on ice cream trucks.
Mm.
They sell medical marijuana on ice cream. Do all this shit, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like I said, as long as it is a convenience for us, we'll pay for it and keep our mouth shut.
We'll keep our mouth shut. We don't
We'll
show
say
up at the
nothing.
town halls where they be making those decisions, introducing things like these vape shops and all of this stuff. Cause see,
It's
that's where
just
y'all
like
miss out at it. Y'all
it's just
miss
like
out on it because y'all don't show up.
yeah, it's just like DC jail. DC jail has been in a dilapidated state where it should have been
Mm.
shut down. But as long as the black prisoners was in there, they didn't give a damn. They allowed
They
them to live and
damn.
slump.
Yeah.
But as
Yeah.
soon as
They did.
those from January 6th went up in there, all of a sudden, one petition was put in and they shut DC jail down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
They shut it
That is a
down.
damn shame. That's a
Shut it down.
shame.
That shows you right then and there. That shows you right then and there. Even a criminal white life is more valuable than a non-criminal black one.
Yeah. Yeah. It really
And
is.
it's a damn shame. It ain't just a shame. It is a damn shame. But
It's a
the real
damn
shame
shame.
is black leadership refused to address it. That's the real shame.
That is a
That's
real
the real shame.
shame. Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
they'll call each other sellouts. They'll call each other sellouts. But they've sold out the legitimacy of our struggle a long time ago. Our struggle is not external anymore. We have an internal struggle that we have to deal with first. We got to get the internal mechanisms inside the black community together first before we can attack those things outside of the community that ill affects the community. We can't even come
Right.
together. We can't even come together as a community on the fact that this liquor store that has been on this corner, that has been a parasite inside of the fucking neighborhood for decades, needs to be gone. We can't even come together on that. Why? Because
We can't even
everybody's
come
trying to get
together on
high.
that. Yeah.
Everybody's trying to get
Yeah.
drunk to get their problems.
That's right.
So they
Self-medicating and
want to address
everything
that
else.
parasite.
Yeah.
They want to address.
Jesus.
They want to address all of these smoke shops that are coming up. Why? Because hookah is the end thing now.
Yeah. And
So
it's
they want to
killing
address it.
these young people. The vapors the vape pens blowing up in their damn faces and all
These,
kinds of stuff. Like yeah. And we allow
now,
this stuff. We allow these things,
now
to go on.
I'm not
Ridiculous.
bigoted. I'm not bigoted in any sense. I'm not bigoted in any sense whatsoever. I call it straight across the board. If we wrong, we wrong. If they wrong, they wrong. I'm gonna call it like I see it. But isn't it strange how all of these shops and stuff are popping up in our communities? And look who's owning these shops.
That's right. Okay.
Who's owning these shops? Where
Okay.
did these foreigners come from?
Where did they come from? That's
They
right.
just popped up in our communities and own franchise of these smoke shops, and they speak English better than we do.
Yes, they do. Yeah. Yeah.
So understand this now. This shit is not just by happenstance. This shit is by design. They were sent over here years ago to go to school, to learn our economic system, to learn business. And then they were financed by the government to open this shit up.
To open it up. That's right. To attract us. Because they knew that would attract us.
And then the thing
Our
about it is
messed
this:
up
you have to
mindsets.
have a federal license to sell alcohol product. I mean, to sell tobacco products. Where did these foreigners get these licenses from to sell these tobacco products?
Yeah. Yeah.
And have to
Where
do
did
to
they
get.
get them from? That's right.
And why isn't this stuff being addressed?
Why is it not being addressed? That's the truth.
So
Yeah.
they addressed everything else, but those things that are essential to the lifespan of our people in this country, they won't even touch those issues.
They won't even touch them.
You
Yeah.
got babies 10, 11, 12, and 13 years old addicted to vaping. That shit don't make no sense. But we can't absolve the parents of their responsibility in this shit too.
Right. Yeah.
Because the children in the street doing what they're doing because parental guidance is suggested. There's no parental guidance. Anytime you have a mama getting high with her daughter, a father at the club with his son, or in the dope game, the drug game, the father is the son's plug. Or the son may be supplying the father. We got to rid ourselves of these vices in our communities that adversely affect us as a people. We have a self-defeating, self-destructive culture that has been given a booster shot in terms of its growth. And we treat each other like we on steroids in this month. Anyway, our people are killing each other wholesale.
And
We killing each
speaking
other
of that,
wholesale.
Steve, speaking of that, I just got a Miss Cook is running a little late. She's at the dentist and trying to
Yes, ma'am.
get
Yes,
out
ma'am.
of bed so that she can be able to make her debut. But we were speaking about the case of Marty William McMillan Jr.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. what is your let's talk about that, because that's part of the reason why I wanted you here today to collaborate with Miss Cook,
Right.
because this is the thing, okay? And let me fill the listening audience in on who Marty William McMillan Jr. is. He
Yes,
was a
ma'am.
young man who was reported missing back in April the 22nd, 2017. Okay. Um, his body was found 9 months later along Suitland Parkway. 41-year-old John McGee, or whatever his name, he was charged a year after Marty was found. And also his girlfriend, as I was reading a article on that. She was actually charged. But what happened was she was released on her own personal recognizance.
Uh-huh.
What is your thoughts on that? And the fact, okay, they have been pussyfooting around with this whole damn case. They have put the trial off many times. Now, mind you, this happened in 2017. 9 months later, they found Marty's body. I think, like, within that year, these people were charged and everything else. But this Shania was not even arrested.
Right. Right.
Miss Cook is on the
Okay.
live. She's on, yeah, she's right here. She's on the chat. What is your thoughts?
Okay. My first question is this, right? What connection does a 22-year-old male have with a person that is 20 years older than them?
Mm-hmm.
How did those two even? How did he even zero in on this young man?
Well,
They're
this is
20
the
years
thing.
apart.
Marty met this young woman on a dating app called Plenty of Fish.
Right.
Okay. He had been talking to this young lady, had very great intentions, trying to get to know this young lady. He went and met her the weekend night of the playoff games, the NBA playoffs.
Right.
And now,
Now,
being a gentleman, he took food, he took movies for them to watch. His intentions was going there to get to know her. You know, they vibe a little bit. But when he went to that place, that going there into his life with that
okay.
situation. Now, I don't know if these people, from what I've been hearing, that these people have
Have
been
history.
used to setting people up. This woman has been involved in many setups. We don't know how many people.
Okay.
We don't
The
know how many people that has
way that
lost their
you're
life with these individuals.
the way that you're explaining it to me, it's simple. I thought about it for a second. It's simple. She was a prostitute, no question about that. The guy who killed the young man was her pimp.
Mm-hmm.
They working together. What
They
happened
were
was,
working together.
what happened was, they probably believed that he was going to be an easy mark for robbery, and he bucked.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he bucked,
Mm-hmm.
ended up killing him. Right?
Yeah, this is see, and Miss Cook is online right now. This is the type of things, and the fact that the prosecution keep on allowing the defense to keep putting this case off and off. This has been 5 years.
Okay. How fast did they catch him?
It was like maybe I say a year. He was
Okay.
reported missing 2017. 9 months later, his remains were found. And I think within 2018, something like that, going into 19 is when they were arrested. He was
Okay.
actually arrested on a gun charge. Okay. And some other things, because what led it down the pike is that the house was busted into. They went in there, they found drugs, all types of things. They also found bullet holes in the floor because Marty had been shot 7 times inside of the closet in there. Also, they found a blanket or a sheet or something balled up that had been pushed under the bed with Marty's DNA on it.
Right. Now, my thing is this. If she was locked up in connection with that, the
His
least charge.
His grandmother said it was 1 year. It was a year after Marty's disappearance. They were arrested.
Okay. Now, she was probably locked up for being complicit in his murder or conspiracy before or after the fact. But the reason why she was released regardless is because she became a state's witness.
Okay.
She's a witness. They released her because they couldn't bag him and get all the information that they needed on him to get a solid case without her. So they flipped her and gave her release as a guarantee for her turning state's evidence on him. Now, the thing is this. She can still be held responsible. Don't get it twisted. Because she is no longer criminally charged, that doesn't mean that the family itself cannot file a civil lawsuit against her for wrongful death.
Oh my God.
See how he got OJ, didn't you? See how he got OJ, didn't you?
That's right.
So the family still can pursue her. Don't get it twisted. She doesn't get away. She doesn't get away because she was at the scene. She played a part in what transpired. She can't get away from that. Can't get away from that, right? And she released on her own first recording. But what needs to happen is you need to get a court document detailing why she was released on her own first recordings, why the charges were dropped, and what she was initially charged with, right? That will establish a connection from her, with her and the case. And once that connection is established, then you can pursue a legal means to make her pay.
I mean, look at these eyes, just the eyes of a goddamn demon. This girl on here, just the eyes of a demon. The eyes of a demon, this girl here. And look at this beautiful, handsome young boy, 22 years old, in the prime of his life.
See, and see, the sad thing about this is
his life. It wasn't harming nobody. As a matter of fact, on the road to getting his life in order at 22 years old. Now he's in court, and they're turning these victims. These victims don't have no rights. They're sitting in here dragging the victims through the court of law, as if they are the ones that, have committed the crime.
See what's happening is this. Anything that this young man may have done prior to this situation happening to him, that's his past.
Right.
That's over and done with. So to bring that up as a precourse to what happened to him is criminalizing him. You're criminalizing the victim.
Right. Yeah.
While at the same time not adequately addressing why the prosecutor is allowing this defense attorney to do what he's doing. Allowed a certain amount of continuances in a criminal case.
Yeah.
The state is allowed a certain amount of continuances, and the defense is allowed a certain amount of continuances. If the state has exhausted all of its continuances and they can't build a case, then the judge dismisses the case. If the defense asks for extensions, there has to be viable reasons why these extensions are granted. If they're not viable reasons why they're granted, then you can ask for a change of venue because it's evident that you're not going to get justice in that court.
Right. Yeah.
Or you can ask for a change of venue. That's an option. You can ask for a change of venue. Ask for that case to be tried in another jurisdiction. And the reason why I can't try in another jurisdiction is because number one, was he killed in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah. They believe he was over on Martin Luther King Avenue Southeast.
He was killed in Washington, D.C., and his body was dropped in Maryland. That means that his body was transported across state lines.
Oh, my God. You better speak.
Body was
Mm-hmm.
transported. That means that his case has not only been considered a murder, but a kidnapping as well.
Mm.
So the family can have their attorney get with the prosecution and ask the prosecution to request for a change of venue, because it's evident that this court right here is not going to give them justice.
That's
This case
right.
should have been
Yeah.
prosecuted.
It should have been prosecuted and over with.
Now,
And,
now,
this is, yeah, it's up until now. And then they put the case off. They were supposed to went to court. The trial was supposed to start January the 31st. Now they have put the whole case off until April of 2024.
okay. My question is this: for the prosecutor, what is it that the defense don't have?
Right.
They said that they're not prepared. What is it that they need that they don't have?
Mm.
The prosecution got everything. They got all the evidence to prosecute. Why is the prosecution being lackadaisical in their approach to this case?
That's right. That's right.
Somebody knows something on
Mm.
somebody.
Somebody knows something. Yeah.
If
It's
you
not
collected all
making no sense.
that evidence, you got this man. Hook, line, and sinker. You got him
Mm-hmm.
so well where you could off him a deal for 12 years. That shit right there is suspect for real. So at the same time, if you go to him with an offer for 12 years, he representing himself. He don't want to take the 12 years because he knows something.
Mm-hmm.
Houston is shabby, so he ain't gonna take the 12 years. He'd rather take his chances at trial.
Yeah.
So what does he know that is being left out of this case that could guarantee his conviction? Something's
Yeah.
missing.
And not only that, now he was representing himself. Now he has gotten 2 private lawyers working with him.
And who went and got these private lawyers?
Well, DC has a program for their offenders where they can get a lawyer from a private law firm to work for them pro bono.
Exactly. Now, my thing is this. Why would they allow him, after they've already offered him a deal, why would the prosecution allow him to be represented by counsel after he's already declared that he's going to be his own counsel? What, he fired himself?
Jesus.
Don't make sense. Why would the prosecution allow him to get an attorney once you go in that courtroom? The judge say, "Are you represented by counsel, or do you want counsel?" Once you say no, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They proceed. That's it. You don't have a chance after that to seek counsel. You already declared open court that you don't need counsel, that you're going to represent yourself.
Wow.
To get another fucking lawyer. They don't do
some bullshit. Yeah, they want some bullshit. But I'm glad to be in a place where I am now to have lawyers, that I'm collaborating with to help my families in the missing and murder community, because this is the umbrella that I have been trying to get under, because I know that there is injustice in these cases all of the time. And a lot of times people don't get to see just how unjust they are, and resources for Out for Justice initiative. What resources do you all have available? And I know that you do this. You go state to state helping, when are you coming to DC, the DMV?
Yes, ma'am. See, right now I'm in Columbus, Ohio. I just left Indianapolis, Indiana Sunday, and I just got to Ohio. I'm working on something in Ohio right now. However, I will be in Washington, D.C. I'm getting married on February 22nd, so I'm going to be gone for about 2 weeks. And the first week of March, the first or second week of March, I'll be in Prince George's County, Maryland, doing court watch there. right?
Okay.
Figure out what y'all need done while I'm there, right? Because after I
Okay.
leave the county, I have to go to California for 3 weeks. Right, I got a training. I got a training to do in California with search and rescue. Right, so I'll
Mhm.
be there. I'll be there for 3 weeks, and from there, I'm going to try to make my way back to the DMV before I go back to Ohio. Right, but
Mhm.
what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to spread myself out because there's a great need in a great many areas, right? So what I'm doing right
Okay.
now is I'm networking with other organizations that have the resources that different organizations need. I'm trying to serve as a middleman between them to try to vet who's official and who's bullshit, right? So
Right.
that's,
Yeah. 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 Because we don't need this. We don't need no bullshitters. We got too much going on.
I want us to have resources that are reliable resources, not
Mhm.
just not just somebody giving us lip service because we've been victims of that too long. People telling us,
Yeah, we
"Look, here,
have. Yeah.
this I'm going to help you with that," and then when the time comes, they're nowhere to be found.
Ain't
Or when
nowhere to be
pressure
found. Yeah.
over comes, you're left on the front line by yourself because everybody starts to retreat. So we need people who are going to be
Mhm.
consistent. We need people who have the resources that they say they have. The resource that we have right now is that anywhere that we are needed to put boots on the ground, we're going to be right there. Anywhere that
Okay.
security is going to do that. Anywhere where lobbying needs to be done, when you need people to go in your community to go around your state and lobby for specific issues, we're going to do that. If families need our assistance to get their voices heard, right, and to bring their issues to public attention, we're going to do that.
Okay.
We got people in place that that specialize in stuff like that, right? And they don't have
Mhm.
a problem traveling to wherever they need to travel at and get things done. And it's not about a cost because we don't charge anybody for anything. That's number one. We are a service. We are a service oriented organization, and our desire is to see to it that justice is served to
Right.
for our people. Right. So we
Mhm.
don't charge our people for anything. Our people have been charged too much any damn way.
That's right. That's
And
right.
receive nothing in
That's
return.
right. That's right.
Our desire,
Donations are good. That's what I said. I don't charge my families for anything, but I'm looking for sponsorship, because this has to keep going on. It has to keep going on. So, I'm going to do whatever I can, to help out. Well, we help each other in this situations because we have to be able to keep this going. You know what I'm
right?
saying?
We just opened up two safe houses, one in Indiana,
Mm.
in Tennessee. We got two safe houses right now for battered women and children. Right.
Wow,
Right now, we're
Biko.
in the process of renovating those safe houses. They're ramblers, but they have 3 bedrooms apiece in each one of them. Right. So we're trying to set
Mhm.
up and accommodate
That's
two
a start. That's a beautiful
families.
start.
Right, accommodate two families in each home, and we're working right now with our underground cadres to put security on both of those places to make sure that those families who are put in those places are safe at all times.
Mm.
You don't have to be
That
from
is
Indiana or Tennessee,
wonderful.
right, to go inside of those places. You don't have to be from those two states. Anywhere where there's a problem and the people need to be relocated, we're going to send an extraction team, go and pull them out of the situation that they're in, and relocate them to where they can start over.
Wow. I gotta give you a clap for that. Cause you are doing great things. You and that beautiful queen. You tell her I said hello
Ooh,
and
that's
that you tell her to keep up the good work with you. I mean, hey, you had it going on anyway. But behind every fucking strong man, there is a strong queen to back him up. Okay? And
because
you
right now,
deserve that.
'cause
Mm-hmm.
now we're working on a case with her mother, right? Her mother was raped, right? She was an elderly woman, and she was raped by her grandson, right? My wife's
What?
sister's son. My wife's sister's son was supposed to be her health care, her caregiver. He lived with her. He's supposed to be her caregiver, right? We found out that he raped her, right? So when we found that out, we moved in quickly to try to get things situated and dealt with. And he slipped through the cracks, got out of there, and we found out, she had a stroke. And when she came out of the
Oh
stroke,
my God.
that's when we found out that she was sexually assaulted. So she.
Lord have mercy. I'm telling you, that's a powerful brother. And I have been knowing him for many years. We have worked together on many, many, many things. He's always been a go-to person that if I needed some things done or I needed help with certain things, search and rescue for these children, sex trafficking, all of that stuff, he was right there. You know what I'm saying? And so I have the utmost respect for this Black beautiful brother. I know that he is going to get the job done. That's why he's here today, y'all. I don't just connect with anybody. This man has been, not only does he talk the talk, he walks the walk. Seriously, in real life. He's back on. Go ahead, Biko.
Yeah, I'm outside right now because I got boots on the ground right now. But
Mm-hmm.
out here doing the work right now. But the case we're working on right here in Ohio is the case dealing with her mother. Now, the rape was reported, and when she was taken into the hospital, we
Mm-hmm.
requested a rape kit done. The nursing staff did not do the rape kit. That's number one. They didn't do the rape kit. The police did not contact my fiance and let her know that the rape kit wasn't done. Now, bear in mind, we're thinking that everything is done the way it's supposed to be done. Protocols, everything are followed. So we're thinking that that her nephew has been apprehended, he's been taken into custody, all that kind of stuff. None of that happened.
Oh my God.
None of that happened. So we get a phone call from the lieutenant, the investigating detective. He calls her phone, and I'm sitting in the car with her, so he calls her phone. So I said, "Yeah, man, how can we help you? What's going on? Can you give us an update and a status on the case?" Well, what I called to tell you guys is I have to apologize because I made a very big mistake. We're not able to get in contact with the assailant because I didn't move as fastly and as swiftly as I should have done. So I'm tapping her on the leg the whole time, trying to record this shit. So we got him on tape holding a conversation with her, stating that he blundered the case. So I
Good
go to
God
internal affairs.
Almighty.
So I go to internal affairs. Internal affairs tell us that there's nothing that they can do because that police department that he's a part of has their own internal affairs division inside of the department. So I go to the Whitehall Police Department right here in Columbus, Ohio. I go there and we inquire about a internal affairs investigation into this officer's conduct, and they tell us, well, we'll handle the matter ourselves. But they knew what was going on because when I walked into the door, they said, "Oh, you're here because of the case, because the rape case, right?" Now this is a police department I never walked into a day in my life. None of them has ever seen me a day in their life, but they knew what I was coming there for when I walked in the door. How is that possible?
Right.
Make no sense to me. So that's when my fiance was like, "Look, they've been watching you since you came to Ohio. They know what you're here for. You should let me."
Mm-hmm.
Well, they need to be shook up. We need them to be shook up enough to do their goddamn job.
That's right. That's
They
right.
they admitted over the phone that they blundered the investigation. So now what they're trying to do now is, because we put pressure on them again, what they're trying to do now is they're trying to find this guy because he didn't took flight. They're trying to find this guy and then bring him in for questioning. And I told them,
Mm-hmm.
look, this is how we're gonna do this. I don't even want y'all to find this motherfucker. What I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna put my team out here, we're gonna find him, and then we will interrogate him and let you know what the fuck the results are.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do. That's how we do that. Since you can't do what you're
What?
supposed to do, we gonna get justice ourselves because her mother is deceased now. She died because
Oh my
has
God.
health injuries that she, as a result of the health issues that she had as a result of the stroke that she had because she got raped. So she ain't here no more. right? So since she ain't here no more, he ain't gonna be here no more either.
Right, right,
Now,
right.
the judicial
Mm,
process has already spun itself out. They've already showed us that they're incompetent, they're not going to do their job, and they allowed a predator to run loose. Who knows how many people he's raped since then?
how many people he's raped? If he
And who
rapes
knows
his own,
how many people that
oh
he's
my
raped before
God.
that? So you have a sexual predator out here in the streets, and
Mm-hmm.
you're not even looking for him?
You not even
You
looking.
calling us, asking us, have we seen him? Have we heard from him? Do you expect him to call us and say, how y'all doing? How y'all been?
Mm-mm-mm.
He ain't gonna turn himself in. Y'all ain't gonna look for him. Y'all gonna wait for it to be a traffic stop. Y'all run his name or something, then it pops up. Y'all gonna wait for him to slip up like that. You're not actively pursuing a investigation to find out where this guy is and bring him in.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
he's raping elderly women, and this rape caused a stroke, which caused other debilitating health issues and caused this woman's death.
Mm-mm-mm.
So she will never see justice, but the family's gonna get justice.
Jesus
And
Christ.
that's a promise that I had to make to them myself. And I'm in a state that I don't know a goddamn thing about. Rose, you know me. I'm from DC. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't from Columbus, Ohio. I'm from DC. But I had to come here to help and to work in this state, in this city, so I could learn how things move and operate and network with individuals, even in the underground, and network with individuals so I could find this motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's how hard we will work to help where help is needed. We'll go places that we ain't never been before. Place we ain't never in our life been before, and we'll set up shop just so we can get the intel that we need to help these people in the way they need to be helped. It's just like in our communities, when we have issues, we have to get proper intel. Y'all have to give us accurate information so that we don't go in there blinded, not knowing what's going on. That's why you have to have a filtering process with the information that comes in. That's why this show is important. Your
Right.
show is
Yeah.
because your show gives us
Mm-hmm.
information that the people need to give them a clear view on what's going on, so that they don't have to keep on believing the fake media
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
these fake politicians feeding them lies or or stroking their earlobes, making them listen to things that sound smooth but it's bullshit. Our people need the proper information so they could be equipped. They could be equipped with a knowledge of things that's going on out here, so they can see things as they are, not as they are presented to them.
Steve, give your information on how people can reach out. Because
Sis, I will
we
give
done,
sister. I'm gonna
yeah,
put my
give
private
your
number.
information. Give your information because we didn't supposed to stop this at 4 o'clock. We've been talking,
Oh,
talking,
ooh,
talking.
I, and, and
We've
I had
been talking.
I had an appointment and didn't even keep track of the time. Oh my goodness! Thank you for telling me that.
No, yeah.
What you can do is this, right? You can put my private phone number on here. It's 240
Okay.
two four
Mm-hmm.
zero 521 8695. 240
Okay.
521 8695. Or I can be emailed, all lowercase, Stephen with a V, Bantu, Bantu, Biko, Biko, at
Okay.
gmail.com. Stephen Bantu Biko at gmail.com.
And in this live, and on my page, I want you to put your cash app information and stuff up in case people want to give some donations, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can do this again and where we can keep this going,
Yes, ma'am.
very soon. So I love you, brother. You
Too,
and your
sweetheart.
beautiful fiance, tell her I love her.
Yes,
Tell
ma'am.
her to y'all stay safe out there. You need me. call me. I'm here. Like I said, text me all of that information so that I can get that out there. I'm going to put up something real nice because I know, like I said, I know we can use the donation. So, to keep this going, and you go state to state. So it costs, okay? You ain't just, walking there. It costs to get there. So,
Something
we're
for
going
me
to
as
work
well.
together to see, yeah, to see how we can get some things done. Okay.
Also, also, when you get a chance, have Miss Cook contact me personally. Right.
Okay.
That way, when she's dealing with this legal system in Washington, D.C., we can get to D.C. and give her the support that she needs.
Okay. I really
Have her
appreciate that, brother.
personally, sis. Love y'all here.
I love you. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Y'all, that was my brother, Stephen Biko, okay? Stephen Biko Mohammed, okay? National spokesman for the Out for Justice initiative, all right? And so we got some work to do. Just like you said, there's so many things that we got going on. We're going to have to start making some changes too, okay? I'm gonna take it because I'm all over the place. We got a very important and very amazing interview coming up with County Council Vice Chair Walla Blugay coming up. We're gonna take a quick break and we'll be back. Okay. Okay. Y'all, we are back. I had to take a quick little break. You know what I'm saying? Quick little break. She's here. Take a quick little break and just get my mind together. We are into the 4:30 hour. Okay. I have special guests coming in. She is Prince George's County Council, District 6, um, Vice Chair. Her name is Walla Blugay. Hello, beautiful. Are you on mute? Okay, she probably got to come back in again. Yeah. But we haven't, everybody, I know she's working because she's calling from the office. I was trying to get her in the studio, but just got sworn in. being a county council, being any type of elected official for Prince George's County, is going to come with some work, okay? And she was one of my picks for, when I voted. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to take a different approach when it came to, my participating in the process of voting. I needed people that was new for me, that I wasn't familiar with, and I had been hearing great things about Miss Blaqrose, and just did a lot of research on her. Like I told y'all before, please go and like her page, go follow her, because she has a lot of great things in store for Prince George's County, for District 6. And I was just very happy to see that now our elected officials, they're like, they get it. Okay, they get it. They see what we're dealing with right now. They see the issues that's going on in Prince George's County. Prince George's County could be a great place, with the right proper leadership. So to see, great people like herself, I had to reach out to her. I had to have her on here, yeah, I had to do it. So I'm wondering if it would be better for her to call in. Let me see. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be back, because I need. Can you hear us? Do you think it'd be better for you to call in? Let me see. I'm going to. Okay. Y'all, we are back. We have been facing, I guess the devil don't want this to go down today because they have really, really been bothering us, okay? Well, actually bothering the guests because, the thing is real piping. It's popping in here. It may be the signal or I don't know, what's going on, but on the phone, we have um, Vice Chair for Prince George's County Council, Miss Walla Blugay.
How you doing? Is it way? Because I did want people to see some visual, but I guess that's not really possible.
No, we're not. We're not live at all. I
Okay.
wonder
Oh, I
if
see it.
no, we're not live at all. I wonder if do. Okay. Okay, now we can see your face on the live and we'll be able to hear you through the phone. I don't know if that's going to work or not because I'm hearing something in the background. We can't do both.
Okay. Can you hear
You
me
can
now?
mute one or the other.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. We can see you and we can hear
And
you
you
from
can
the
hear me.
phone.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you so
That's what I want.
much for being
No problem. I don't know
patient.
why this is happening.
Yeah, we I was telling my listening audience that I had been following you, and for me, the voting and everything, I wanted to do something different because living in Prince George's County, I wanted change and I wanted to
Yeah.
be a part of the change. I felt like we needed new people. And so when I started researching you and just looked at your background, you won my vote. I went
I
in
appreciate
there
that.
with determination. I voted like my life depended on it. You know what I'm saying?
I
Because
appreciate
it
that.
really, it did. It depended on it. And I want to thank you because I know you just got sworn in. I know you're coming in with a lot of issues, coming out the gate. But I want to let you introduce yourself. And yes.
How you doing? And I thank you so much. I've actually watched you cover a lot of the missing women in our community, and you know how important that is. That's a big issue
Yes.
for many, and a big issue that has not been covered by most media. And so it really is an honor to have somebody who will cover things that most people don't pay attention to.
I thank
Well,
you
I'm
for
Walla.
that.
Right. Well, I'm Walla Blaqrose, and the District 6 is, I'm an attorney. First of all, my background, I was an attorney, really a legal advocate for many years. And I decided I wanted to go on the council to really focus on bringing quality to our community. Prince George's County is a gem. We have a minority majority county.
Yes.
The dreams where people can say that there is the American dream. The American dream even is another step in Prince George's County because you got folks, people like myself and others who have families who are not from here, who are able to come here and do well, but also people of color who many have placed in jails, and we've been, coming from slavery, all of those things. But here in Prince George's County, we see people like ourselves doing well. And it's time that our communities reflect that. And what we see is that you have, especially in District 6, you have a community has average income of over 100,000, African Americans and various diverse communities that are doing well, but our development doesn't quite reflect that.
That's
and
right.
if you go, and so that's the biggest frustration. In some communities, you drive and you see a tobacco store at every corner, public storage. It's like, where are the places that we can enjoy and take advantage of in our community? And then you have also another spectrum that we have. We have a growing number of community of needs in Prince George's County that we've been trying to address the concerns. The problem with that is that we have the issues, we hear the issues, but we don't necessarily have the resources to provide the support. And I want to go over the budget in Prince George's County. This is something that people don't realize. In Prince George's County, you have in Prince George's County, you have one of the other spectrum where you have $5 billion budget with only with about $1 million people, a million people, and that says we say 967,000, and that's according to the census, but we know the census has got it wrong. So 967,000 people, and then if we actually look at our actual numbers, is $1 million, but we only have $5 billion. If you go over to DC, you're looking at a $20 billion budget with 600,000 people. You really have to, when you do the comparison, you're looking at, we have way less money to provide the resource. So somebody says, well, we get more support in DC if we do this and that. Well, of course you do, because DC has more money. So what we have is that we have a $5 billion budget. $2.6 billion goes to the school system. Yeah, that's one of the most important issues. The first issue is education. That's what everybody would say. We want quality education because we have a minority majority community. You have some communities that go from low income to high income, but the school system is the 23 out of 24 in the state. So people are like, we want quality education. So we got $2.6 billion budget for that. And then we have 700 with the second issue that everyone says, crime, especially now. Why is the crime so high? What's going on? We're getting an increased number of carjackings. So we put about $860 million into the budget for public safety. So when you get those two, you're looking at over $3.5 billion.
Yes.
And that doesn't include all the other things that people need, the homelessness, mental health, addressing healthcare disparities, all of the other things that we have. So we have an issue, and budget time is coming up, and that's what we're going to focus on, is what are we going to do to make sure that our residents get what they deserve. And it's not an easy task with less resources.
Right. Yeah.
So that's something to think about.
What do you think when we're going to take it step by step, because I'm an advocate. I have been advocating for 30 years, and I'm out there in the trenches. So a lot of times I like to connect with the law enforcement, agencies, out in Prince George's County. And what I have, they're facing some challenges. And I have talked to several of them. My issue is that, people want to know why we have a rise in the crime. Well, gentrification plays a big part in that from where I'm looking at it at, because I feel like our housing list out here in Prince George's County hasn't been open since Jesus was a baby. Okay, let's just be real. And we have gentrification on full blast in Washington, D.C. And what they're doing is they're giving them vouchers. And not only are they giving them, they're not giving them citywide vouchers because there's no housing for them, to get those vouchers. But what they're doing is they're giving them federal vouchers.
Right.
And we're accepting them.
So it's more complicated than that, actually. So I wanted to make sure you kind of see and understand that. Number one, the issue is crime has increased nationally. So this is not a Prince County only issue. This is a national issue. And if you see our numbers are nothing compared to our right over.
And I don't dispute that. What I'm saying is the mess that's going on in other parts, like DC, for instance, is what's bringing the crimes up over here. You know what I'm saying? And now that's where I'm going at with it. Not that we don't do a good job, because we have closed out the years, with numbers like 72%, 76%. We were doing a damn good job when it came to our crime. But what I'm saying is justification, not on our behalf, but on the other sides, from every other side. You know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, besides us,
Right.
and that's what's putting us in a crazy place right now. That's what I see.
Yeah. So let me just explain. Let me explain this. There's a couple of things. I think I was hearing some background. Did you hear it?
I can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's a couple of issues that keep coming up, and I would say this. Number one, we need to provide more services for our students in need. I would say that, as I mentioned to you, 2.6 billion into the school system, another 800 million into 2.6 billion, another the school system, another 800 million into the crime.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that we have a lot of students, but we don't necessarily have the wraparound services to support them. So if somebody is in great need,
Mm-hmm.
you got to from another pot. You can do some things in the school system, but the reality is that what's going on with that student when they leave the school building? And what we find is the average age of these carjackers are between 13 to 15.
Yes,
What might
ma'am.
surprise
Mm-hmm.
you, 60% of those kids live in DC. They
I'm
have
glad
DC
you're here to
addresses.
say that, because
Um,
every time I mention that, people look at me like I'm just trying to point the finger, but I'm in the trenches. I know. And I'm glad you're here to say, you know what I'm saying, to confirm this. Because people want to, yeah, go ahead, Miss Blaqrose. I'm gonna let you talk, because this needed to be had right here. This
so
conversation.
this is a really big thing, and this is something that the council is like many of the stakeholders are grappling with.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at the arrest warrants of who's committing the crime, oftentimes the stated address of the kids that they're looking for don't live in Prince George's County. They live in DC. Now, what we need to figure out, what we're trying to figure out, sometimes they've moved. We don't know where they live, because a lot of these kids that are involved with this, they have unstable homes. They're not living, they don't have a parent monitoring them. So some people say hold the parent accountable. Well, some of these kids are kind of out on the street. Now, what we don't know is some of these apartment buildings in Prince George's County, what we need to figure out is who lives there, because sometimes some of these DC addresses are people who live sometimes they move into apartment buildings in Prince George's County. So we have to figure, because what we've been talking about is how do we stop this before it gets, if somebody is 13 or 15 years old and they're committing crime, something's going on at home, right? This is not normal. Somebody is influencing this person, or somebody just doesn't have someone watching them. Mm-hmm. So what we need to do is keep watching them. And I know everyone say we need to hold these parents accountable. Well, we got to find the parents first, or whoever's monitoring them. Some of these people left the house. But when we started looking at some of those folks, some of them are moving from DC to Prince George's County in apartments, because the only affordable housing really in Prince George's County, except for designated affordable housing in DC, that's designated DC, is really Prince George's County. That's the last. A lot of people are moving into Prince George's County because they feel like it's affordable. They got apartments that are not $3,500 a month. You know, you can get some more affordable housing right here in Prince George's County. Mm-hmm. But when we take that on, sometimes these things come along with it. So a lot of these kids, when you look for them, they have DC addresses, but we're not sure if they live in DC. Do they live in Prince George's County? And a lot of them do live in DC. So we're getting of some of the crime that's increasing in DC is just spilling right over to Prince George's County. So they're just breaking into cars all throughout Southeast, and then they go into Landover. We see the number. Landover has a high number. Capitol Heights, District Heights, around that area has a hard number. Because what we need to figure out in Prince George's County is how do we catch these kids? Right. If they have DC addresses, then we can't really catch them. Because what we want to do is find out what schools they're going to. If they are at a particular school, then we go to the school. I know, I'll tell you, there's been a focus on Suitland. Mm-hmm. And that's the Borealis district. The council member there is going to focus on Suitland, and there has been some nonprofit organizations that we've worked with, and perhaps Tony Lee's his group. They're out there in Suitland every day working with the kids because there was recently a gun over there. So there's one of those things where they're doing what they can. They've got violence interrupted people there trying to make sure that they control the violence there. And we need to pinpoint areas, but it's time to be more strategic. Instead of us saying, let's go and lock them up, we learned from the 90s that doesn't work.
No.
And what's happening, people saying that it's the justice system. Well, it's not really. The reality is that you catch these kids, you do put them in jail, and one of those things, but what happens is that you don't want them, when they get out, it's only but so much you can do for a carjacking. You can't lock somebody up for 25 years for carjacking.
Right.
So if they come out, they go back. So what do we need to do to make sure that they don't go back? Because if you got someone that's out in the street, if you take them to jail, that's not going to deter them.
That's the truth. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So
yes,
we have a lot of work. We hope to do that. Go ahead.
I was looking at your platform and your plans. And one of the things that I was like, yes, when I saw it on there was those smoke shops.
Yes. Yes. It is a big important. And I would say that people have to understand there are legal things that we have to make sure we do. Now, we are looking at determining what is permitted use and how we got such an oversaturation of them. We found concerns. There's some concerns that have been brought to our attention of some of the convenience stores that have actually opened up as a convenience store, but then they started selling just enough tobacco that won't be considered a tobacco store.
Mm-hmm.
It's they have lawyers, and these lawyers figure it out, a certain percentage. Then it's not a tobacco store, because a tobacco store needs a special exception. That was done years ago. And now what they've done is that they've opened up as convenience stores. Mm-hmm. If you look in there, they might have tobacco on the window, but when you go inside, look at the majority of what they have. It's convenient. It's snacks. It's, like chips, things like that. So we're trying to get into these loopholes. Where's the loophole? If somebody's going to be a tobacco store, we're going to have to put a process in place that will make it that we can control the oversaturation. However, whatever bills we put forth, we got to realize, as the law said, even if they have to eventually shut down, we would have to give them a specific number, a time period to do that. Mm-hmm. So we are going to address. I know people are very frustrated with our system. I did see some notes that I saw somebody put there, and there's some things that we have. We are going to focus on increasing services for residents. Mm-hmm. The reality is that if you don't address some of those issues, all these other things creep up. With the legalization of marijuana, we're working close with our state reps. I know people are concerned with the smoke shops. The reason why these shops have been placed at every corner because they're anticipation for the legalization of marijuana. So we're going to make sure that we limit where we do it. We don't want our kids to have such great access to it. Mm-hmm. We don't also need an oversaturation. We don't want to become the market of marijuana all over, up and down our streets. Mm-hmm. So we can make sure that we have designated places that people can take advantage of the legalization of marijuana, but that it doesn't intrude. It's not close to schools. It doesn't intrude on the environment and the quality of life of residents.
Right. My thing is, it's like, I live in a community where, like, for instance, Landover, the 25-hour store, okay? I had been in that Landover area. My son, my oldest child would be 35 years old, okay? Mm-hmm. He was born there, and that store been around for a very long time. The Korean owners there, that was there before, now it's closed down, okay? Which I knew that those were going to be one of the places that's closed down. Why? It had old food on the shelf. Because I have walked in several of these convenience stores that were once, Korean owned, and saw them exchanging the money, as they walking out. A lot of the things have not even been changed on the shelf.
Right.
They left the food and everything right there. 25-hour store had stuff in it so old, it didn't make no sense. One of the owners came in and shut that down. And I remember when they first started popping up, they had marijuana in them. They had marijuana in them. And I made calls, yes, and I'm going to say it because anytime I see an issue, I'm going to make a phone call. And I made a phone call for people to come out and inspect these different places. And they did find some things going on that they wasn't supposed to have in there. We have these people standing outside of them all night long. Even if you wanted to go and buy a quick pack of cigarettes or whatever, you would be scared to even pull up in them. And then the elements that is drawn to these places, you know what I'm saying? It's really not a good look for Prince George's County, like when it comes to that type of thing, because like I said, I've been out here off and on all of my life, and to see this type of thing, I tell people all the time, when we have these town halls and things of that nature, people need to be more involved.
Right. Well, I would tell you this. We have talked with DeFi. We've met with representatives there, and we're going to do some oversight discussions on that. The reality is that there has been some violations of some of the permits and licensing of the shops all up and down, all throughout Prince George's County. And the way that we're going to address that is by doing some oversight of the agency that does the enforcement. So we've been given permits, but there's been lack of the enforcement could be improved. We went to agencies, and one of those things is regulating some of these shops, some of the permitting of them, making sure that they are doing what they're supposed to do, and following the regulations of the county. So that's really important. So we've been working on that. And we're going to continue to be vigilant. On that. And I want to make sure people understand that if you have some concerns or questions or places that you've gone that you see that they're violating rules, or just oversight, we're looking at ideas of what we could do to improve the development, improve the quality of life in Prince George's County. Because like I said, we have limited resources that we're pulling from. How we're going to do it, we do need the feedback from all of you. So if you have something that you've seen that you think that I should look into, then you should email me or call my office, and we will definitely address it. And I want to give, is there a way that I can, that we could post that information? But it's my WB as in boy, LEG as in girl, AY at co.pg.md.us.
Okay.
And if we can get people to contact me or Council District 6, that's just the word spelled out, Council District and the number 6 at co.pg.md.us. And they can call my office at 301-952-3426.
Okay. I sure will. I will post all of that, have all of that post. I have been telling people to go and like your page and go just, and go check you out, because it was refreshing to know that I've, this time around, I've actually made some good decisions when it came to voting, because I'm not going to say, I was a little disappointed in Prince George's County as a whole with the voting. You know what I'm saying? I was a little disappointed, but when it comes to Maryland as a whole, I felt like Maryland did a great job with coming out and voting, and we did, do some great things with the vote. You could tell with the vote that we wanted change.
Yeah, and we ask that people be vocal about the change that they want, because it's not easy. We're some of the developers and people are fighting against us. We just did a whole bunch of bills. I want to talk about that. We realized there's a process, and I'm gonna send an email about site-specific text amendments. But basically, our zoning ordinance allows for mostly the proper process. The process that we want to use is making sure that every development application that goes forward is sent to the community. The community is part of the decision. The community knows what's going on. And then they get a chance to voice it at any of the parking planning hearings. But then there's been a really big slew of text amendments, which is where you pass a law instead of going through that process, which doesn't require the notice to the community. So you got to know what's going on at the council and pay attention to the council hearing to know what's going on. So we know that that's not what should be done.
Right.
And that's been done so many times. So what we're trying to focus on is repealing that, so it provides a process. If you want to rezone, if you want to do something different, go through the proper process. Because what it has brought, there has been an oversaturation of townhomes in our community. We have a Plan 2035 that's focused on building around metro stations. Think about the Blue Line corridor. That's a big thing, building off of Central Avenue, where we're supposed to have development, retail, restaurants, all of those great things from Largo down to Capitol Heights going forward. So we need to make sure that we build along the 214 corridor and also build up in New Carrollton, where the focus, Branch Avenue, College Park, the Route 1 corridor. So we've been focusing on that because we want people to have places to go in their community.
Right.
And if they don't, then they can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won't enjoy, and they'll feel like they're paying high taxes with nothing else. So that is one of the issues that we're focused on. So we want to make sure people see what we're doing and the good that we've done. We've made some repeals. We're going to give more information of more things we're going to do. We're going to deal with the smoke shops. We're going to deal with increasing money for a lot of the support services that people need so that we can make sure that we have a safer environment.
What I want to ask you, what do you think is, coming into this? You have 4 years, right? You have 4 years to, what is your biggest challenge?
Our biggest challenge is really making sure that we get the support of the community. The community, like a lot of people complain, but then we want to make sure that we keep everybody engaged. And the reality is that we got people that are fighting against our actions. When you go against interests that's coming to the county that might not have our interests, they don't go down without a fight, and they got money.
Right.
And they have a lot of that thing. So we want to make sure that we subside that by making sure the voices of people are heard. Just because you've got more people-oriented council members in, stay engaged, come to council hearings, voice your opinion, and we're going to start fighting because it's not easy. We have a whole system that we have to work against and even push against, because some of the things that's been put in the community, people are not happy, like you weren't happy. But we're here, but we cannot do it alone. And frankly, development, they say it takes 20 years. So you want to decide in the smoke shops and all those things, it's going to take a while, right. And we're going to work on it. So yeah, right. so we're working busy on that. But I really enjoyed this, and it's good to be able to share all of the things that we're doing.
I really enjoy having you. We're going to have to. I know you're busy. I want you to leave your website again. Information where people can reach out to you again.
Yeah, so I would say this. My email, the best email is the Council District 6. Council District 6 at co.pg.md.us, and 6 is just a number. And then you could call the office, and the office is 301-952-3426.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for this interview. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And you keep up the great work. I'm looking forward to just watching you, and I appreciate you so much.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was a great interview, y'all. Like I said, I would be having all of her information posted. Let's support our elected officials that's out here trying to do, like, what we have to understand is, as the people, they're not miracle workers, okay? And they can't do this by themselves. All right. And they don't have a crystal ball to try to figure it out what needs to be done where. That's why it's important for us as the people to be able to connect with our elected officials, give them the heads up on things, give them, make suggestions, when it comes to different things that maybe affect your neck of the woods. But as it's your job as a resident, as a community leader, as whoever you call yourself, as your kids go to school, Prince George's County, the state of Maryland, you will want things to be in a great place. Okay? So, yeah, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. We are back. Wasn't that a great interview? I'm telling you, today has been a very, very, very great show. Very informational. I'm going to go to the live stream right now because I just want to shout some people out. I want to shout all y'all out, okay, that's been on the live stream today. Y'all been riding, okay? Community justice, our new, listeners, from community justice. Thank you so much for just riding with me today, okay? And thank you. We're here. We're going to be here every Tuesday with some great information. All right. If you have any suggestions, please feel free to inbox me. And yeah, okay. Kenneth Clark, Kim Shelton, Shatima Williams, everybody who has been tuning into the live today. I thank y'all so very much. I thank, all of my guests today. Miss Cook, Grandma Cook was on the live stream today. Y'all really been showing some love, okay? I know TikTok a little pissed off today because I didn't get a chance to go live, but y'all will be getting some of the content because as soon as I can download and get some clips together, I'm going to be posting them on my TikTok as well. And I want to shout out TikTok and I want to thank them for riding with me on that with sharing the missing person flyers as well. That has been doing extremely well. All of the great feedback that I have been receiving, from everyone. It has been it's been phenomenal. And just, my new network. I want to shout out Monroe Media TV, from look, okay, every week I come in here. All right, it's something. I'm telling you, she makes me. She tests my gangster up in here. Okay, and I'm just gonna say it. She tests my gangster up in here because, being a missing person advocate, I've always wanted to, and doing my radio show, I've always wanted to have visuals. I wanted to bring the stories to life, to have a creative way to bring my missing and murdered cases to life. And Monroe Media TV has done just that. And so, like I tell y'all all the time, we have some great things in store, ahead of us. We're going to be doing more interviews. We're going to be talking to these families more, trying to get into the realms of trying to see what we can do to protect these victims. Making sure as an advocate that I have the resources to allocate to my families in the missing and murder community, because I have gotten to a place where I understand the things that you need. This has been, 30 years in the making of advocating, 7 years in radio, a lot of hard work, understanding the many levels of missing persons, and, going from sharing flyers to understanding that it's way bigger than sharing flyers. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with that, because we need to share these stories. But there's so many levels, and there's so many things and situations that missing persons and, advocating for missing persons is lacking, and so getting into this myself, I've always wanted to, be able to have resources for my families, lawyers if they need them, guidance, because we have a lot of court cases that are coming to light right now. Like most of my own personal cases right now are in the court process right now. And the families are not, in a very good situation because they're having a hard time with receiving justice. So, I'm saying all of this to say, it's still a lot of work. We still got a lot to do, but we're on the right road. Okay. And things don't happen overnight. It takes a little time. But if we come in and unite together and just try to figure this thing out and stay in contact with our elected officials, to reach out. A closed mouth don't get fed. Now, you can't be sitting around complaining to your neighbor or complaining to your cousin and your sister, about certain situations that's going on, and you haven't reached out to your representation to even give them a chance to even see if they can rectify the situation or what we can do to make things better. Okay? So y'all gonna have to think about that, right? We're coming to the ending of the show. This has been a character building week. I'm tired, and it ain't even it's just getting started. We just had Tuesday. And I'm dragging in the stuff from last week, okay? This has been character building. I can't wait to get back in here next week, okay? And I love y'all. Stay safe and see you next Tuesday.